So today not only we had the leaks, but we had some actual changes to the game itself, an update if you will, on how drones kind of work, and then we had of course the confirmation of the leak lists being basically true, right? The ones that I talked about, of course, with a dev blog, but that is just later down the video, okay? First of all, let's show to you guys the changes that they did for the actual, drones. So now you can actually spot targets. We're here in a custom battle, and you can basically spot targets and mark them like properly, not just with the yellow mark, but actually properly mark a target, scout a vehicle, and if that vehicle is destroyed, you get even points, right? There are some little things about that we need to understand before we do it. So the first thing is that, of course, like a normal tank would be, you just aim to the target, and then you click the button to aim the target, to scout the target, and it will scout it. As you can see down there in the actual, like at the bottom of the screen there, you can see that the reload when you have a drone up in the air is a lot longer. In realistic battles, it's gonna be like 18 seconds. So, for example, I just scouted one there. I'm gonna scout the second one. And see in the bottom of the screen there, it takes basically 18 seconds for you to be able to scout the next target. Okay, that's the first thing. So it's kind of a nerf on that regard, that it takes a little bit more time, but it's to help you basically balance it out, right? Another balancing factor is that if it is too far away, for example, here we have targets that are just close enough that I can scout. But if it is too far away, in the case of this vehicle, it doesn't have thermal, so for example, it's 1,500 meters. If you have thermals, it would be 3,000 meters. So basically how that works is that you can see on the bottom of the screen there that you can, click on targets and scout them. But if it is too much range, as you see, it becomes kind of faded there, the color, right, of the scouting thing there. And you cannot scout the vehicle. And the distance to the target exceeds the permissible limit, 1,500 meters. So you have kind of a range limit on whenever you want to do this. So you need to get closer to the target, and then it will become, lighter, the color there. And with that, you can click the button and scout the target. So we're going to show to you guys right now. So for example, here, see, it's light now. There it's dark. It's going to become, yeah. And then you can click and scout the vehicle, okay? Again, I mean, thermals have a little bit more range, but in this case, it doesn't have, okay? Another thing is that it doesn't matter if the drone is actually flying or not. Once you have a drone, if you are in the drone or not, but once you are, you have a drone in the air, it will take a little bit more time. You will have these limitations, okay? Another thing is that, the aircraft kind of spawn system will be kind of the same, but you get the respawn, the actual like points of scouting a vehicle, okay, when it gets destroyed. So there is that, and that's kind of it. There are other little things, like for example, if I get destroyed in the drone, it takes a little bit more time now, like 3 seconds for you to actually get back to the tank. But basically, the implementation of that thing that they talked about on the community update there is actually finally implemented. So you can properly scout vehicles with the scout drone, which makes a lot more sense than the other system. I think it's just much better. You can help the team a little bit more. You can get a little bit more points, and it's just it becomes a little bit more useful. At the same time, of course, be careful with these drones because they will be a little bit more useful. So if you are seeing them, it's better to destroy them because they will be spotting you, just like in real life. Let's see if these bots can actually destroy me. I don't think they can. No, I don't think they can. But basically, it will take a little bit more time to get back to the tank when you get destroyed, okay? Now, on to the next thing. So, guys, we had another dev blog today. Of course, the dev blogs are a little bit slow for now, but we did have the leak. And with the leak coming way before, it was like 7 a.m. over here in my time. It came like 2 or 3 hours before this dev blog, right? Kind of confirming the first vehicle that I always like to talk about like this. The first vehicle that was confirming the leaks after the leaks were released, right? So, of course, in the leaks themselves, we have a lot of vehicles that were already shown in dev blogs, in confirmations, in the forum, etc., right? But It is the first time in this patch rotation that we had the leak, the proper leak, having all the vehicles show it. And then shortly after that, we had the confirmation that one of these vehicles were actually going to be added because we had a devlog, right? And this is the BF109 T2, a very interesting vehicle and probably one of my favorite BF109s ever to be made. Why is that? Because, of course, I love the MU modification of the 109. I think it's one of the most fun aircraft you can fly in War Thunder, in a general sense. It is an aircraft that I always loved to fly since in 2013 when I started playing the game. And what the T2 is basically is a navalized version of the E version. So, but return it to a normal version. So what I mean about that is that the Germans, of course, were designing and planning the Graf Zeppelin aircraft carrier, and they needed an aircraft for it. Instead of building a specific aircraft for the Navy, which would consume a lot more resources than getting an aircraft that is already in service or something similar to that and put some modifications onto it and actually deliver to service, they decided to do the last, right? So they had the BF109E kind of as a basis. They got, of course, the normal package of navalized, packages of having an upgrade on the aircraft. So, of course, the arrestor hook, stuff like that, right? And the major modification was, of course, longer wings, longer flaps, bigger ailerons, so that it has actually a better low-speed handling, right? Of course, in carrier landings, right? But then, of course, they just, canceled the project of the Graf Zeppelin because of the war effort and everything. And because of that, they still had these aircraft already produced. So they modify it to just be a land-based version. So they removed some of the stuff, but the wings, remain the same. Which means that we have now a BF109E that still has the same gun, the same engine, the same everything, the same performance, but with longer wings, bigger flaps, and bigger ailerons, meaning that it's a better, even better dogfighter. I mean, the E's are already amazing at a dogfight. The T2 is even greater. It's even better, right? So it's a very fun aircraft. Of course, it is coming as a premium. It might be something that not a lot of people care about, of course. I personally love this thing, and I'm glad that they are adding it. But, of course, it doesn't have a bigger spotlight like, I don't know, an F-18 being added or something, right? But it did confirm that the actual leak was correct, right? Being the first vehicle that was in the leak that came before the devlog, right? So they basically leaked the vehicle that was going to come, and then shortly afterwards, they actually implemented it in a devlog, confirming that the leaks are somewhat true on the very least. Of course, it's coming from a very reliable source, but at the same time, I like to have a confirmation just for the sake of having a confirmation, So it's good to have that. Again, this vehicle will be a premium fighter since it's so rare, right? At a rank 2, and for sure you're gonna get it. But yeah, this is the first one confirmed by a devlog after the leak. Okay, guys? Basically, these are for the official news that we have today. And yeah, I see you guys later today, probably doing some other videos. I want to talk a little bit more about the leaks and stuff. I don't know if you guys like this type of video of talking about what certain vehicles that got leaked are going to be. But you tell me in the comments if you do or don't, right? And I can improve or remove these types of videos if you like, okay? So I see you guys on the next one. Make sure to subscribe, leave a like, leave a comment. Thank you all the patrons and members, and bye.